better?
It is my pleasure to welcome everyone to the second session of the Collegiate Club 101. Tonight, we are pleased to host several attendees who are interested in supporting the Collegiate Club initiative. I am certain that under Chloe's experienced hand, we will leave tonight's session with insightful information that can be modified to suit the needs of our individual areas, states, or provinces. Once again, we welcome you to our second North Central Region Learning Session. Mary Ann Gertis, our Regional Membership Consultant, will briefly review the protocol for this evening's event.
Good evening. We have added an additional 47 new sisters and guests. So we now have 113 registered attenders this evening. I hope that each one of you received the protocol, which was attached to your email reminder. Just several quick reminders. One, please keep your mics on mute unless you are speaking. And if you would like to address the presenter, please send a chat message to Chloe, and she will read your question and reply with an answer. If she does not get to your question during the session, you're more than welcome to email it to her after the session at chwood95@gmail.com. And I really appreciate for those of you that put your first and last name underneath your picture, because with taking roll for 108 people, it's really keeping me busy. So some of you, I'm not for sure. I have the pleasure of introducing Chloe Woodruff, Indiana Vice President for Membership and our first Collegiate Club President at Ball State University. Chloe.
Hi, everyone. We had a couple just join in, so thank you for joining us tonight. Tonight is our second in our series. And I just want to send a big welcome back to our friends from last week and a big hello to our new friends joining us on this lovely Thursday night. Last week, we had the privilege of listening to some amazing students and faculty speakers from our organization's first Collegiate Club that was chartered at Ball State in 2015. If you were unable to attend that session, I encourage you to go back and watch it. If you need the recording, please email Mary Ann, and she is a pro at sending it to you. So just make sure if you haven't seen that, please go back and watch that. A lot of you did watch it and emailed me or Mary Ann, so thank you for doing that. We really appreciate it. At the end of the session last week, I gave you all some homework, okay? Remember that? I got serious. I said, a good teacher always gives some homework. Your homework was to think of what resources your state, province, or nation might have that would help you in establishing a collegiate club. Your next part was to invite these resources to our chat tonight. Mary Ann called me on Monday and said, Chloe, these ladies took their homework very seriously. And you all did. She said, I have already added 31 names to the list. I was shocked in the best way possible. One of my favorite things about Alpha Delta Kappa sisters is when they are asked to do something, they show up. They don't just show up either. They always surpass your expectations. So thank you all for surpassing my expectation. You are all wonderful. I want to thank all who took the time to invite some wonderful new women to this session tonight. I know we have many visitors, so as a suggestion from Elizabeth McQueen, Ontario President, I would like to give anyone who invited someone the option to introduce them. Unfortunately, we do not have the time to introduce everyone using the microphone feature. So if you could type an introduction of anyone who you brought to the chat tonight, use the chat box feature and just type it, who you brought and where they're from, or who you invited. Then you can I'll read them and welcome our new guests through messages in the chat. If you want, you can even introduce yourself. So if you want to say your name and where you're from, go ahead and type it in the chat box. And we can then spend our time welcoming these guests. So I'm going to give you the next few minutes to do that. So if you are a guest or you just want to introduce yourself, go ahead and type in the chat box. We are very happy to have you all with us.
Introducing themselves and smiling.
I'm really glad to be here with all these sisters too, Kathy. I love that. I do know that we have some guests who are interested in possibly becoming sisters, but they are not right now. So we have some awesome people for that here too tonight. I also think this is awesome. I love that. I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds. And at any point, you guys can go through and read. I know that we have lots of awesome guests here tonight. Welcome, Suzanne and Rosa from the Arizona Collegiate Club. We're happy to have you tonight. Thank you all for your chat box introductions. We have so many esteemed and special guests with us here tonight. Thank you all for attending. Last session, I talked about my personal experience that led me to becoming the first Collegiate Club president at Ball State. Today, I am going to focus more on what happened after that. I served as the Ball State ADK CC president from 2015 until 2017. In December of 2017, I graduated from Ball State University and earned a full-time teaching job that started in January. So that was a surprise in itself. This teaching job was in Kokomo, Indiana, which was an hour from where I was living. I knew no one at my new job and had very little connections in the area. Laurel Van Dyke, Kokomo Tau member, read the school board minutes from my local school corporation. She saw my name listed as a new hire. She made the connection that she had met me at our Indiana State Convention during my time as ADKCC president. She sent me a very welcoming email asking me if I was interested in attending a meeting. I sent back a resounding, yes, please invite me. For the next year, I attended meetings when I could, and my Tau sisters showered me with their love and support. As a new teacher, this was very valuable for me. At the time I graduated, Alpha Delta Kappa still had the rule stating that members could not join until they had been under a teaching contract for 2 years. This eliminated the possibility for me to join right out of college. Luckily, the international chapter at the time understood that the best way to get students from the Collegiate Club to join would be for them to be connected right after college. Just like Laurel had connected with me, they changed the 2-year rule, and I was initiated as an official ADK member in January of 2019. After I was initiated, I received another call from Laurel in April of 2019. She told me that someone was no longer able to serve on the state ADK executive board as vice president for membership. She asked if I would be interested. This time, I was a little more hesitant to say yes. I had a lot of questions like, am I even qualified? The answers were a resounding yes. With the encouragement of many, I was sworn in as Indiana Vice President for Membership in April of 2019. You might be thinking, how does this relate to establishing a collegiate club? Well, friends, that is the next part of the story. In August of 2019, I had my first official Indiana Executive Board meeting in Indianapolis. At this meeting, I had the privilege of sitting next to Corresponding Secretary Nellie Remington, and Kim Mathis, the state historian, was on her other side. I heard Nellie and Kim talking about the idea of starting a collegiate club, and I interrupted their conversation and said, "You want to start a collegiate club? I'm willing to help." They smiled and let me in on their conversation. From this day on, starting a collegiate club at Indiana State University became a priority for myself, Kim, and Nellie. Kim is going to talk more about this here in a minute. Now, let's talk about how to establish your team. Think of it like a sports team or an academic team. You want a very diverse group with everyone bringing forth a different perspective or experience. This is one thing that I believe has made the ISU team very successful. What I want to make clear is starting a collegiate club is a team effort. One person cannot be responsible for the whole weight of this endeavor. You need a well-rounded group of individuals to be able to make this happen. The other point is a collegiate club will not just charter itself. I've been through the process twice now, and I can assure you that. There are lots of steps in this process that we will go through next week. And if you divide and conquer these steps with a team, your club will come out stronger on the other side. One person that should be involved in this journey is your state, provincial, or nation membership consultant or vice president for membership. This officer's position is to help encourage membership and help your SPN reach their membership goals. What a great person to have on this team. As the Indiana Vice President for Membership, I have joined this journey because I know how important collegiate clubs are for our continued growth in Alpha Delta Kappa. Getting collegiate students to know this organization before entering the workforce is imperative for our organization. We all know the value in this, so what a better goal to focus on for your next biennium than chartering a collegiate club in your state, province, or nation. As we start to get more involved in the thought process of establishing a collegiate club in your state or province, it is important that we talk about who should be on this team. Each province or state's membership team will look a little different as we all have different resources. With that being said, I am proud to introduce you to some of our key players in the chartering of the 4th Alpha Delta Kappa Collegiate Club at Indiana State University, which will hopefully take place this September. Our first key player is our dynamo, Kim Mathis. Kim has been a teacher for Newcastle School Corporation for 26 years. She teaches students with special needs at the elementary level, and she's wonderful. I have asked her for a lot of help over the past year. She has been an ADK sister for 7 years. Kim served on the Indiana State Executive Board as historian for the past biennium. This biennium, she is serving as the president for her local chapter, Indiana Alpha Phi. She has previously served as chapter secretary. Kim loves spending time with her family and traveling. She has been spending her time during quarantine trying to find time to finish projects she started years ago and found again during her COVID vacation, or COVIDcation as she likes to call it. Kim will be sharing more detail about how the Collegiate Club at Indiana State University went from an idea to a reality. I'm proud to introduce you my friend, Kim Mathis.
Okay, now that works. Okay. Yes, I'm Kim Mathis. Nellie and I, we were sitting at the front table in our executive board meeting, and my daughter had just changed majors from speech and language pathology to elementary ed. And I said, oh, wouldn't she be great? And that's how it all started. And then Chloe heard us talking. So going from that, so that was the first thing, is we needed to find a student in the college that was interested in chartering the club. Okay, so now I live in Newcastle, Indiana. Indiana State University is in Terre Haute, which is about 2 hours away. Far enough that if I want to visit my daughter, I have to call. That I think was her plan the whole time. But anyway, so Nellie lives and has a chapter in Terre Haute, and then we also have an active chapter close to Terre Haute in Brazil. And with both of those chapters, working with the colleges, we felt like that was going to be a lot of support for these students. So now we have a student, and we have a chapter or two that are close, that are going to be supporting that student. So the next thing that we had to do was find a sponsor. We had some ideas for sponsors. Nellie made some connections with some people. What ended up happening is Dr. Nail was one of Gwen's professors. And Gwen went to Dr. Nail and said, would you be interested? This is what this is all about. So Gwen, Nellie, Dr. Nail, and I all met together at Indiana State University. We were sitting at the table, and just right next to the table, or close to the table, there was another student that seemed pretty interested in what we were talking about. And Gwen, while she was taking notes, kind of mentioned to him and said, why don't you come over here? Because he was also an elementary education major. And that's how we ended up with our president, Gwen, and the treasurer, Nicholas. And they're both very, very excited to be part of this chartering, and it's really been a lot of fun. So all of the information was out to the people that that were interested in helping us get started. So that was in October. Then in March, well, over the Christmas break, Gwen and I sat down, and we actually looked at, I think, Arizona's Constitution. And so we used, I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure, or we looked at Ball State. We took some and just kind of Frankenstein them all together. But we came up with the Constitution and a procedures manual that we were going to use, that we later sent to Ben, who is in campus life with student affairs at Indiana State University. The one thing that he really appreciated when we had that, especially the procedures manual, we took from the Indiana State University, we took some of their statements, like their inclusionary statements, and just some of the rules that they have for their college, any college club. And so when we met with Ben, with the Student Affairs Office, he was just so excited that we knew everything that Indiana State University stood for and what their clubs were for. And it was that day that he says, okay, you're a club at Indiana State University. It was that part was easy, I think. Now the hard part is making sure that we have all of our people available, or all of our people in line for the for getting ready for ADK, the college club, to be registered, or to sorry, I wrote that down. Yeah, to register with Alpha Delta Kappa. Okay. Oh, and then, so that was March. Gwen and Nicholas started going to their class, and they had an application that Chloe had given them, and they were passing those out. That was on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. By Friday, the college said, oh, we got COVID-19, and so we're closed. And the rest of everything that had to be done was virtual. So we now have students that have agreed to be on the executive board. We have a date for establishing the club, and that's where we are. So that was our group. That was in how it just kind of grew from there, because I think people were really excited about chartering and about being part of an international organization like ADK. So I think that was my part, right, Chloe?
Yes, thank you, Kim. Kim is her son is at a sporting event right now. And the mom and the mom to her daughter Gwen, who you'll meet here in a minute. So yes, thank you for explaining that. I think it's wonderful for everyone to hear about when someone's excited about an idea and you're able to find other people who are also excited about the idea, how it really can just, roll off of each other. And I think that's what we've, done here with ISU. And I really want to thank Kim, because she has driven 2 hours to Terre Haute multiple times for, us, just to be able to do different things at ISU for starting this Collegiate Club. So thank you, Kim. As a reminder, when we are building our best team, we are building our best team when we start putting our teams together. I would encourage you all to find a passionate encourager like Kim, who is willing to drive several hours or help whenever necessary. We appreciate you, Kim. Our next speaker is Kim's daughter and our spirited president, Gwen Mathis. Gwen will be a senior this year at Indiana State University, but don't be worried. She will be around for another part of next year to do her student teaching due to changing her major. Gwen has been a resident assistant, or RA, for the past 2 years at ISU. She is also involved with an organization called Camp Kesem, which raises money and hosts an annual camp for school-age children whose parents have been diagnosed with cancer. Gwen also enjoys reading and painting. When you are building your team, it's very important to find a driven and outgoing president who is excited and willing to put herself out there. We definitely found that in Gwen and are very lucky to have her. Gwen is going to tell you why she wanted to become involved in being the chartering president at ISU. She's also going to talk about how they started to build their officer team and stayed in contact during the current pandemic. I'm ready when you are, Gwen.
Hi, like she said, I'm Gwen Mathis, and I had a whole thing written out, and my mom actually took half of my speech. So my speech might be a little bit shorter now because I didn't run it by her. So I became interested in starting up ADK at Indiana State when I did switch majors. For the first 2 years of school, I was a speech language pathology major, which I really enjoyed, but it just didn't really feel right. It never really connected with me. I didn't pick up on a lot of it. So I decided to switch to elementary education. I'm a third generation elementary education teacher now. My grandmother on my mom's side was a teacher, and now my mom is a teacher, and I'll be a teacher. So it just felt like a very natural thing to go into. And as soon as I did, I decided at the end of my spring semester, my sophomore year to switch majors, and by the time I told my mom, she was like, okay, like that's good. You're gonna start ADK, right? Like it was almost an immediate thing that she brought up. And so I agreed. And I went back to school and we started to work on that as soon as we could. I asked Dr. Nail to be our advisor, and she sat down with us, with Nicholas and I, because as Chloe said, I was an RA, so Nicholas was actually one of my residents first year, and so I developed a very positive, strong relationship with him, so it just felt very natural to want to work with him because I don't think he's here tonight. I think he has something going on, but he's very charismatic. If you ever meet him, he loves to talk. So it was very easy to decide to elect him as the treasurer. And so once I agreed to become president, like I said, Nicholas was elected because I just knew that I'd need a lot of help. I had my mom and Chloe and Dr. Nail. We now have Naomi, who is our social media. She runs our social media, and we are working to elect our other members. Right now, it's very difficult because I forgot that time zones existed. And so our last meeting where we were supposed to elect officers, we had, I think, 5 people show up, and 4 of them were Nicholas, Dr. Nail, Chloe, and my mom. Oh, 5, because I was there too. And so we only had one other member that hadn't been working on this for a long time. But when this whole pandemic hit, we realized that it would be very difficult to keep in contact. So I've been using a resource that we have called the Treehouse. It's because we're the Sycamore, so everything is tree related. So it's the Treehouse. That's where all of our club information is stored. So that's where I have everybody's emails, and so that's how I keep in contact. And so since we have left school, I've had 2 students reach out to me about joining, and so they have been introduced into the club. We haven't been chartered yet, so we're not officially affiliated with one another, but we're still all part of, the founding team. And so, like I said, we're all still trying to elect all of our officers before chartering in September, just because that's one less thing we'll have to worry about, because by the time we all move back in August, it'll be a lot going on. And this definitely hasn't been an easy process, what with the pandemic. And I started out this summer working full-time. I'm currently working part-time. I'm in 3 classes. I actually have an essay due tonight, so I may have to leave the meeting a little bit early. And right now I am in an educational research program where I'm working with a student from Korea, and we are developing a cross-cultural comparison of after-school activities between Korea and the United States. So it has definitely been very helpful to have everybody on my team who's there, because if I were on my own right now, it probably wouldn't happen, just because everything has been so busy for the last 5 months. So I definitely appreciate everybody's help, and I know that it'll turn out successfully. So, and that's all I have. So.
Thank you, Gwen. And I want to explain a little bit of what she was saying. And as you can tell, she really is a go-getter. And we would not have, the membership and the success that we are having right now at Indiana State University without her. A lot of universities have an online system where students can log on and look through different club or organization options. So I know at Ball State, it's called the Benny link. And each club creates a page. So at ISU, that's what the tree house is. And each club or organization creates a page where students can go and they can type in education, and all the education related fields or organizations come up. So that is what people are doing at home right now during the pandemic. They're typing in education related clubs, and the ADKCC is popping up, and they're requesting to be members and contacting Gwen. And that is just really awesome, that even though everyone is not in Terre Haute right now, that people are still interested in what these amazing students are doing. So I just wanted to explain that a little more for everyone. I'm sure every college or university will have some form or platform like that, or something similar. Our next speaker tonight is Dr. Melissa Nail. Melissa Nail is in her 27th year of teaching. She started teaching in Mississippi at the same elementary school she attended as a child. During her 3rd year in the classroom, some of her work caught the attention of members of the Mississippi Department of Education. She was then invited to share some of her strategies and ideas with teachers across the state of Mississippi through the Mississippi Writing Thinking Project. At this time, she was also a mom, working on her master's degree and teaching full-time, while also squeezing in visits to schools up to 6 hours away for professional development sessions. She told me her involvement has not slowed down since then. Melissa completed her PhD at Mississippi State in May of 2001 and started teaching at ISU in August of the same year. In 2019, she was named, oh, sorry, I missed a spot. In 2017, Melissa received the Caleb Mills Distinguished Teaching Award. In 2019, she was named a Homestead Distinguished Professor. Melissa has been married to her husband for almost 28 years. They have raised 2 sons who are both getting married in the next year, one in October and another in March. Let's hope that those weddings are able to happen to their full capacity. Her husband and oldest son are both teachers. Her passion is, of course, teaching, but she also enjoys sewing, cake decorating, and reading. Dr. Nail will be speaking about why she wanted to join our team as a faculty advisor and the benefit she sees of collegiate students being involved in ADKCC. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Melissa Nail.
Good evening. Thank y'all for having us here. And learning about ADK has been really exciting, mostly for the opportunities that this will provide for our teacher candidates. Chloe, even as you were saying, that was one of the things that I thought would be really wonderful for our candidates. When you talked about after you graduated and you made contact and had a mentor and somebody right there at the school with you, that is an incredibly powerful experience for any of our graduates. And oftentimes we don't have the resources to support new teachers in that way. I know Indiana used to try to provide mentors for new teachers, and it just hasn't happened the way it should. So this organization has that. We can provide that for our new teachers. And it's a great way to grow the organization, but it's a phenomenal way to support new teachers. Other things that I thought would be really great was the fact that this is an international organization. So it seemed just limitless what we could do for our new teachers, from contacts for travel and teaching abroad and all kinds of cultural experiences and connections. So I am really excited to be able to offer these possibilities and opportunities to candidates at Indiana State. And the idea also of having this collegiate club on campus is a way for our candidates to connect early in their program and help each other. So very exciting. I can't wait for us to get back on campus in just a few weeks and continue.
Thank you, Melissa. I'm excited for it all as well. I just love her enthusiasm for learning about this organization. And I think that that's something we have to find when we're looking into, hopefully, some faculty advisors, is finding people who are interested in learning about our organization. And I love that Melissa feels that way and is so excited. And we're excited that she will be becoming an ADK member this year. So claps for that. We have two other really important members of our team who were unable to make it tonight. Our first one is Nellie Remington. She will be our local ADK sponsor. Nellie has been a vital member of Indiana ADK for many years. She has served in multiple positions in her local Indiana Omicron chapter, as well as Indiana State President, and several positions on the Indiana Executive Board. Nellie has been helpful in making local connections as her local chapter meets very close to ISU. Nellie has also organized pin donations from our Indiana sisters so that all charter members of the ISU ADKCC will receive a pin without having to pay the additional cost at chartering. So Nellie contacted me today and said that we already have, just from donations from our Indiana sister, 25 pins paid for. So if we do not have 25 members this year, we will roll those pins over to next year. So we are really excited about all of that support. Our other member of our team is Nicholas Castelluccio, and I know I butchered that, so sorry, Nicholas. Nicholas will be our treasurer. Nicholas was unable to attend tonight due to his work schedule, but I am hopeful you all get to meet him someday. He certainly is a hoot. He has a great work ethic, and he is extremely eager to fulfill his duty as our treasurer to his best capability. One thing I would like to mention is that each college or university has its own set of criteria that a club must have. One of the things that most colleges and universities include in its policy is saying that organizations for students have to be inclusive. This means for both men and women. I know that other collegiate clubs have had multiple members who have been male and have seen great success with this. We on the ISU team are beyond lucky to have Nicholas as our student treasurer. I am confident Nicholas, Gwen, and the rest of the executive board are just the start of our story of what the ISU Collegiate Club will offer to ADK. Thank you to all of our guest speakers. Gwen, you go work on that essay, okay?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm sorry that I have to leave early, but I have had 3 essays due in the last 3 days. So
We're happy to have you were able to make the time for us. So we appreciate you. Bye, girl.
bye.
Okay. As a state president or nation, VP for membership or membership consultant, one way you can be involved is in the assistance in guiding the process. This is something I have done here in Indiana. I found out that the way I fit into the puzzle was helping keep us on track with paperwork and guiding communication back and forth between international and our team. I will show you how I did this more in detail next week. As you can see, building your team is putting all the correct puzzle pieces together. In order to have a successful collegiate club, you need a faculty advisor who is willing to learn, a go-getter as a president, a trusted student treasurer, a local advisor to assist in any way possible, and support from your state, province, nation, 3 Ps, your support from your vice president for membership or membership consultant, and international. When all these pieces come together, you have a beautiful puzzle ready to take on the process of chartering a collegiate club. I was gonna cut these out and I realized it just looks beautiful. They're all together. Okay. I'm gonna briefly talk about the duties and responsibilities of advisors, and then we'll have our short little Q&A. I know that there have been several questions about the difference and responsibilities between the faculty advisor and the local sponsor. These duties are not spelled out in the ADKCC documents that pinpoint this duty is only for this person and this duty is only for this person. Instead, it's important both of these positions work together as a team to divide and conquer based on what works best for them. You really have to think about your strengths. Ooh, I think someone said they want a copy of my puzzle. Yes, I will scan it and I will send it to you. So, great idea. Okay. Lynette Varner helped me this week with going through the different documents put out by International of the different duties that should be divided and tackled by the faculty advisor and the local sponsor. So I'm going to list some of these here. I can also send that out later if you would like that as well. So a couple of the duties are attend ADKCC executive board meetings and review duties of each officer, share brief information about ADK International at each ADKCC meeting. Examples would be altruistic and world understanding projects, state, province, nation meetings, and conventions. Assist ADKCC with developing and maintaining a budget. Make sure that the officers are on target with the meetings and communication with the members. I will send this list out too. Maintain contact with the ADKCC liaison assigned by headquarters. This is currently Marie Hurst, and she does a wonderful job. So we are very, very lucky to have her. Assist with the procurement of speakers. Ensure that the club remains in good standing with the university by assisting officers with meeting expectations of the university. So remember, as a club, they have what is expected from the university and what is expected from Alpha Delta Kappa, okay? So we have to have a good mix of both. Help to connect student teachers with chapters in the area in which they are located during their student teaching placement. This is something we've done at Ball State for many years, and it has really been helpful. I was actually with a chapter during my student teaching, and I was able to attend some of their meetings, and I loved it. So any kind of connection you can make with them is amazing. and your vice president for membership or membership consultant could assist in this process. Send contact information of graduates to the SPN membership chair or VP for membership and SPN presidents 1 month prior to graduation. So that would be November and April, depending on your schedule. I know that's what it is for Ball State. So again, it's making those connections and making sure that the proper people get the paperwork so we know who's graduating, so we can reach out to them and invite them to a chapter in their area. What better connections to make? The last one I have listed, and again, I'll send this list. I got 12 chats, so I'm sure that's what it is. Be a sounding board and cheerleader for your ADKCC officers, which I know that all of you on here can do. Also, thank you, Lynette, for helping me put that list together.
Yep, she's good. Well done, Lynette.
Okay. Marie Hurst also helped me brainstorm some things that we felt were important for the faculty advisor. The faculty advisor should be educated about ADKCC and the roles and responsibilities of becoming an ADK member before becoming initiated, just like you would any member that you normally initiate. The faculty advisor should have the goal of learning about our organization and wanting to become an active member, and not only leading and assisting with the Collegiate Club, but also her local chapter. Since she will be attending double the chapter meetings, this might mean the local chapter has to be a little more flexible in their expectations as well. One thing I know that Ball State does is they have joint meetings, and I'm sure some of the other collegiate clubs do as well. So that would be an awesome way to incorporate the local chapter and the Collegiate Club. The local ADK sponsor should be supportive of the group and willing to step into whatever role is necessary. This sponsor should also provide the Collegiate Club with ADK knowledge and educate them in our organization. And I can say that's something that's really important. I loved learning different things when I was a collegiate student. And then as I joined a chapter and I was involved in a chapter for student teaching, every time I was learning something new. And I think that's one of the, wonderful things about our organization is there's always new things to learn. The most important thing is for there to be open communication between these two positions. The student should be the one who run the Collegiate Club under the guidance and support from the local ADK sponsor and the faculty advisor.
Yep.
Do you have anything to add to that, Marie? Thank you for helping me with that.
I think you said that very well, and something else we said during our conversation was that every situation at every university or college is going to present a different scenario for how this is going to work. So the process is a template to kind of guide you, but sometimes you're going to go off a little different to make it work for where you are. But communication is that big thing, and that's what you mentioned, and that's very, very important for all parts of the puzzle. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to take the next 5 minutes. If anyone has any quick questions at this time, remember next week we will be going through the process. Marie's going to lead us in that. And I'm going to show you in the last 5 minutes. So I'm going to take 5 minutes of questions. Then the last 5 minutes, I'm going to give you your homework. And that's going to be showing you where to find this process. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or type in the chat, and I'll pull that up and see what we can do. Oh, thanks, Lynette. That makes me happy. Just a reminder, I can't see if you raise your hand. So if you have a question, either unmute yourself or type in the chat. Can we clone her? I hope that you guys are seeing from people that we've had on the chat. I know there's some wonderful people that we have in Colorado, Arizona, here in Indiana. Students, if they learn at the collegiate level and get just a taste of our organization, they want to be involved. They, you know, students, when I went to Ball State, I wanted to be involved in something. I wanted to feel like I had a place that I mattered on campus. And ADKCC can be that for a lot of people. Oh, I love that. Someone's granddaughter is an elementary education major. Great. See, there's your first connection.
Question, Chloe.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Margaret from Ontario, Canada. I was thinking about the mentoring opportunities, but it never occurred to me, the second part, support during your university years. So could you expand a little bit on what that looked like and what kind of situations it created that were supportive for your group?
I will say that when I was at Ball State, a lot of ways the local chapter supported us was by, Lynette mentioned it last week, cooking us dinners. We were collegiate students. We were hungry. We were busy. If we could go to a meeting and have a warm cooked meal, it really made the difference. And the best support you can have is just talking to someone and getting to know them. And that's what I appreciated and still appreciate to every ADK woman that I meet, is that they're always wanting to learn about you and talk and get to know you. And so to me, you know, just offering that emotional support of, we appreciate you and we care about you, I think is always going to be the most important part.
Okay, thank you. Well put. Thank you.
And if I can jump in, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kathy, go ahead.
Okay, this is Kathy Beatty from Virginia. I know a lot of us are starting school virtually, and I know a lot of colleges are virtually. Do you have any sort of thoughts as to how we can connect with college students in our areas to start that process and get to follow up with Margaret's thought about mentoring? You know, and how can we support students in this virtual world that we are in for the time being?
Lynette, do you want to take that one? I know you guys are doing a lot of virtual things right now.
Actually, I do have an idea, Kathy. I'm wondering about for your, are your ADK meetings going to be virtual? Do you know that, whether your chapter meetings are going to be virtual?
It just depends on the area of the state and how well, you know, the numbers are in those states. So some are going to do socially distant meetings and some are going to do virtual.
I don't know. I would say try to connect with individual professors if you know, and you could invite students to join. If you have your meeting live, then they could connect virtually with you. I know most of everything we're going to be doing this next year is going to be virtual. So
Okay.
Any meetings that we have, we've already been told for fall, at least it's virtual. And so we're going to be inviting the ADKCC girls to join us on our Zoom meetings. And we're hoping to get some speakers on our Zoom meetings so that our ADKCC students can hear from speakers too. We visit the YWCA. We've done that the last couple years. And so we'll probably be connecting with them again and getting a virtual tour of the YWCA. And we always invite the ADKCC girls to that too. So I think they're invited to about 5 meetings throughout the year. One of those is our celebration anniversary meeting. But I know in the fall, we do November, and then they're also invited to Founders Day celebrations. And I don't know what those are going to look like this fall, but we certainly will invite them virtually. And I think if you connect with classes, maybe elementary or early childhood classes that want to learn more about the teacher network and the teaching profession, that might be a nice way to get them interested in ADK and ADKCC.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask one more question, then I'm going to show you guys something on the website. So Lynette, I'm going to ask this question to you. Barbara from Alaska sent in, how do you share with the Collegiate Club men that our international ADK organization is for women only?
Okay, so we had our charter. We had one young man who actually signed the charter, and we had 2 that came on a regular basis. And this sounds really flippant, and I don't mean it that way, but I just told them they needed to marry a teacher so they could stay connected with ADK and ADKCC that way. But right now, you know, we are, ADK is an all-female organization. So until that changes, I don't know how else to, if anybody has any other great ideas, I'll take that too. But I just told them, I said, you know, you've got 24 women here. You can choose one. So I don't know what happened with him though. Have you kept in contact?
I have not. I see Marie raising her hand. Go ahead, Marie.
I was just going to say that, you know, when these young men graduate, they're going to be going to cities where there's Alpha Delta Kappa chapters, hopefully, and they can be involved with those chapters. They can come to some meetings to listen and learn, just like we would invite someone, but they would not be asked to join, but they could be guests at meetings because they did belong to the Alpha Delta Kappa CC group at their college. They could also, as they're in their school, be an advocate for Alpha Delta Kappa chapters with the young women that are at that school. So, you know, you have to think about, again, that word connection. How do you make it work for Alpha Delta Kappa and work for them too? Because they could be a great source of membership recruitment. So just a thought.
And I want to add in that Nicholas at ISU is fully aware, but he really doesn't care because he thinks it's an awesome opportunity and he wants to be a part of it and take advantage of this opportunity now. And I've told him, you know, maybe there are ways that he could be a part of ADKA. There's so many different possibilities that we can continue to explore. And I know that, you know, we have some people who are interested in that. So maybe that's something as we continue to, you know, go through this process, we continue to possibly think about, you know, how could they be involved in different varieties. So thank you, Marie and Lynette, for adding in on that.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen real quick. I'm going to try to get you out in the next 5 minutes. So sorry about that, but I'm going to share my screen. So hopefully it works. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Should see a mountain. Perfect. Okay, let's go here. What I'm going to show you is the Alpha Delta Kappa International website. So if you're currently a member, you have access to this or should be able to access it in some way. For our next Zoom session, I will need you to access materials off the international website. I am going to briefly share my screen and show you how to access them. Marianne will also be sending them out next week, so you may read them ahead of time. So if you're not able to get them on the website, she's going to send them out. But the website, it has a lot of resources for the collegiate clubs. So I want you to all see from me how to find them. Okay, and I can send these directions out too. Okay, so the first thing is you're on the website, you're logged in. So I've already logged in with my username and my password. The next thing I'm going to do is go to this yellow gold bar and I'm going to go over to meetings, not membership. It's under meetings. And I'm going to go down in the drop box to ADKCC. You see it? Perfect. You're going to click on it. Now, this shows all the different resources for the collegiate clubs on the international website. So if you look right here, there are links to each of the current collegiate clubs that we have, and they have different resources, testimonials, things that they have made or modified there. What I want you to look at is where it says Alpha Delta Kappa Collegiate Club Documents. If you want to look at any of this other stuff, A+ for you. By next week, I need you to click on this link that says Alpha Delta Kappa Collegiate Club Documents. I'm glad my internet is working. Okay, now you can see that there's lots of different documents specifically for collegiate clubs. The ones I want you to look at for next week are the first 4 documents. The first 4. So we have the Constitution, Policies and Procedures Manual, and the Initiation Ceremony, which if you click on it, it will come up in the next screen for you. We have the process, which is that step-by-step that Marie's going to walk us through next week. So I really, really recommend that you read through that. We have the student membership application, and we have the chartering application. So for next week, I want you to look at those 4 documents, okay? So I repeat, here's your homework. Please look at these 4 documents and read thoroughly through the process and Constitution/Policies Procedures Manual. So I want you to look at all 4 of these, but this process and the Constitution are the 2 I want you to pay the most attention to, okay? So these first 2 are the 2 most important ones to read by next session. So we're looking at all 4, but we're reading the top 2. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I feel like I'm virtually teaching my students how to get on things. This is how virtual learning went for me too. Except nobody's interrupting me, telling me that they can't, they don't know where to go and they're lost. So great job, everyone. Next week, Marie Hurst will lead us through the process document, and we will have our Collegiate Club advisors, Joy Shaw, Suzanne Malley, and Lynette Varner to help answer some questions about the process and share insight. Okay. I'm going to go back to stop share. As a reminder, we'll be sending those out as attachments, but the best thing would be for you to get used to going to the website and finding them yourself. So we would really appreciate if you did that. Okay. I think that we are ready for Miss Mary Ann to wrap us up tonight. Thank you all for participating.
Thank you, Chloe, for all the time and energy and effort that you have spent in giving us this wonderful session, and to your special guests that you brought on board. Also, for our guests, they're more than welcome to go to the Alpha Delta Kappa website, and they could look at these documents also because they are not on the secured part. And that would be alphadeltakappa.org. So please do not hesitate to take a look. You can look at other offerings that Alpha Delta Kappa has to offer. Well, we're ready for Zoom 3, which session 3, the process of establishing a collegiate club. It will be held on next Thursday, July the 30th at 7 p.m. Email me if you are unable to attend, or if when you attended tonight, you said, oh, I would really like to hear some of this again. Don't hesitate to send me an email and I will send you out the recording. The recording is an audio video. So you not only see, but you hear Chloe and our guest speakers. So if you would like a recording, just send me an email. The first letter is a lowercase l that stands for Larry, my husband's name, but it's L, M like in Mary, A like in Ann, GERDES@gmail.com. It's also noted on our agenda. So don't hesitate to send me a note. I will be getting in touch with everyone that I didn't catch was maybe not here. I tried to do my best in taking attendance. And so I'll send out an email to anyone that was not in attendance to make sure that they would like a copy. Look forward to seeing all of you next week, and we'll be excited to hear what you are starting to think about in your own state, province, or nation. Thanks a lot for attending tonight. Goodbye, gals.